First of all, what is a function? Okay, a function is a rule. Functions change every question. So let me show you what a function is. Okay, if I said f of x equals 3x plus 5, this is what's called a linear function. Okay, so if I ask you to find f1, do you know how to find f1? 3 times 1 plus 5, which means 3 plus 5 equals 8. 1 is referred to as the input. Your answer is referred to as your output. So sometimes they've been known to draw these diagrams here, where they say, here's your inputs, and then they'll come over here and tell you what your outputs are. Does that make sense? Yeah. And if I was to replace this with 3, what happened then? Instead of 1, we're going to use 3. 3 times 3? 9 plus 5? 14. Okay, so 3 goes to 14, and then you get the gist, don't you? This is what's called a linear function. The reason why it's a linear function is it has no x squared, no powers. That makes sense? And linear functions, so that's a linear function, okay? The next thing is what's called a quadratic function. Quadratic function would be something like this. Always has an x squared. Can anybody tell me the shape of this graph? If it has a plus x squared, sorry, you're right, U-shaped. If it has a minus x squared, N-shaped. Okay? And then finally, there's what's called an exponential function. An exponential function is where you have something like 3 to the power of x. Can anybody tell me the shape of this one? Curve like that gets increasingly steep as it goes on. There are 3 types of functions, okay? Now, in this question, it tells us that g of x is 2x to the power minus 3. It then asks to find out what g3 is. g3 means replace x with 3. 2 to the power of 3 minus 3 is 2 to the power of 0. Put 2 to the power of 0 into the calculator, you'll get 1. Any number to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, next thing. H of x equals x squared minus 3x. Can somebody in class tell me what ht must be then? Replace x with t. Next one. H of 2t plus 1. What do you think h of 2t plus 1 will be? Do you understand? You used to have x, but now you don't have x anymore. What do you have now? 2t plus 1, 2t plus 1. You got to multiply it out. So that's going to be 2t plus 1 multiplied by 2t plus 1. Then multiply that out. Minus 6t minus 3. And then it's going to be 2t, 4t squared, plus 2t, plus another 2t, plus 1, minus 6t minus 3. After that, guys, what happens? 4t squared. How many t's do I have? 2t, 2t minus 6t. 4t minus 6t. Minus 2t. 1 minus 3. Minus 2. And that is h of 2t plus 1. Question, Sean?
Where do you know the t's?
I replaced 2t plus 1
Yeah, I got that one.
for x, and I had this 2t plus 1 squared. That means multiply 2t plus 1 by 2t plus 1. And when I multiplied that out, that's where I got all this from.
Where do you get the minus 3?
The minus 3? Well, in the question, Sean, it says minus 3x. Do you see minus 3x here? That means minus 3 times whatever x is, means minus 3 times 2t plus 1. And that's what that is at the end. Okay? Now, Hence, find the values for which ht equals h of 2t plus 1. Any ideas how to make an attempt on that? What is ht? What is h of t? Fine, next. What is h of 2t plus 1? That one there? 4t squared minus 2t minus 2. That's what asked us to get up here. In this question here, that's what we got. Now, what type of equation is this going to turn out to be? Move it over one side, what happens? 0 equals 4t squared minus t squared. Minus 2t. And what happens to the 3t when it gets sent over? 3t. Well, the 2's already over. So it's staying where it was. 0 equals 4t squared minus t squared. 3t squared. Minus 2t plus 3t. Plus t. And then finally minus 2. It's 1t. What do we do with the 0? Can anybody tell me? What happens if we do this? No, not necessarily. Let me show you. 2 plus 3 equals 5. Agreed with that? 5 equals. Did the signs change? So I did the same thing there. Is everybody alright with that? Okay. Anybody know how to do this? You have two options. What's the safe option? The long safe option. Minus b, a equals 3, b equals 1, c equals minus 2. Minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That will get you the answer. And it's quite safe for 90% of students. This is the way I'd like you to know how to do it, because you might be asked a factorised question. Can anybody tell me the difference between a factorised question and a solved question? There's no equal 0 in a factorised question, and you can't use the minus b formula. Yes?
What will the question be when you have to use that log?
Minus b formula?
Yeah.
It'll say something about 2 decimal places. Or you can use it for any solving any quadratic equation. Okay? You can still use it. Yes?
Get the reference number.
We're going to go for the reference number. 3 times minus 2? Minus 6. Two numbers that will multiply to give you minus 6, but yet when you add them, they'll give you plus 1. 3 and minus 2. Change. 3t squared. Change the 1t into what, guys? 3t minus 2t minus 2 equals 0. Then what?
Yeah, separate.
So 3t into t plus 1. After that, factorize.
Same bracket, t.
Minus 2 into t plus 1 equals 0. After that,
3t minus 2.
into t plus 1 equals 0. Then after that,
3t minus 2 equals 0.
and
3t plus 2.
after that,
3t equals 2.
yeah. And then after that,
t equals 2 over 3.
2 over 3. Okay. This one here, let me explain. This shows you a diagram, okay? And I want you to find out the parts A, B, and C. Now, what are you guaranteed about every point on this line? Every point on this line, what happens? Sorry? The y value has got to be equal to 0. So, for A and B, y has to equal 0. X squared minus 2x minus 8 has to equal 0. Yeah?
Could you just put in
Now, guys, what is f of x the same as? This equation means this here. It's a graph of this here. Can anybody tell me what f of x means? Y. Now, what's going to happen here is that your y value is equal to 0 for a and b. Everybody understood that? So therefore, when you solve this equation with a reference number of -8, what's the two numbers that will make -8, but yet when you add them will make -2? Sorry? -4 plus 2. X minus 4, x plus 2 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0, x equals 4. X plus 2 equals 0, x equals -2. This makes the point A is -2, 0, and the point B 4, 0. Everybody happy with that? Now, what are you guaranteed about the y-axis? The x value has to be equal to 0. So, for C, x has to be equal to 0. Therefore, y equals, remember, it's x squared minus 2 times x minus 8, right? Y therefore equals 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus 8. Y therefore equals -8. Now, that's the way you're meant to do it. Here's your backup plan. Oh, I know how to draw these. To draw these, I go to my mode, I go to my table function, I enter in what I'm meant to draw, and I haven't got a range, but what I'll do is, I'll take a guess. I'll go -5 to the left, and let's say I'll go 3 to the right. I'm going to purposely make a mistake here, okay? Just because this can happen to you in an exam. Now look what happens here, guys. You go down. It's currently above the x-axis. Would you agree with that? -527 being somewhere up here. Keep going down. And then eventually you hit the x-axis, don't you? -2, 0. This guy here. Keep going downwards. -1, 0 minus 8 is where you hit the y-axis. Location down here, correct? And then you're going, wait a minute, I'm trying to find B, but I haven't put in enough points for B, have I? No. So you go back to the start and go, okay, this time, I'm not going to stop at 3, I'll stop at something like 10. Give myself a lot more points. And you keep going down, and then you find out that the other point of intersection is 4, 0. You happy enough with that? Okay, 4, 0. Now, what's part 2 of this question? Okay. Y equals x squared minus 2x minus 8. Would everybody agree with that? Because f of x is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 8. You, in effect, you want to find out when is the y value smaller than 0. Everybody got that? Y value is smaller than or equal to 0. So look here. It's bigger than 0, it's bigger than 0, it's bigger than 0. It's current, the y value is still bigger than 0. Starts here. Smaller than 0, smaller than 0, smaller than 0, smaller than 0. So it's all this green region here. Still smaller than 0. The y value is still smaller than 0. And then finally, ends there. Starts at x equals -2. Ends at x equals 4. Okay? So, what we have here, guys, is we have to express that as an inequality. Can anybody in class tell me how to express this as an inequality?
-2 is less than or greater or equal to x, which is bigger than or greater than.
Less than or equal to 4.
Yeah.
Okay, the way to describe this is that you can do it two ways. You can say all the numbers have to be bigger than -2 and they have to be smaller than 4. That's one way of doing it. Second way of doing it is to spin the top one around. So you spin this around and what you get is -2 is smaller than x, x is smaller than 4. That's another way of doing it. And then you can combine the two of these to make that one there. This means all the numbers between -2 and 4. Is that alright? Is there any other questions on this one?